Hi everyone, this is Yuri and my tips and tricks on how to turn a photo into a painting. This time I'm gonna show you an amazing technique on photo to art transformation on iPad or Android devices, and I'm gonna do it with a beautiful and absolutely free app called PaintCan. PaintCan has been developed by a well-known Adobe, but it is not like all those heavy Adobe applications like Photoshop or Lightroom. PaintCan is a small-size app made by some enthusiasts from Adobe team to let people enjoy their photo painting experience. From the first sight, PaintCan is not that special. It just traces the images and mimics brushstrokes on a new layer, like some other apps do. However, PaintCan can really be impressive if you know how to play its settings. And that's what I'm gonna show you in my technique. Once we have PaintCan installed on our iPad or Android device, let's open it. And let's select a photograph which we'll work on. For the first test, let me try this photograph of a piano player in New York Park. I've got this photograph from Pixabay. I can say that this application works well with any photo, but for my technique I like the photographs which contain some larger subjects like this piano player. The first thing I'm gonna do is to go to settings down here and change the output resolution of the image. Here in Advanced and Resolution, I would choose Maximum. Please make sure that the Maximum is checked on. And the undo steps I put to 16 to the maximum number here. So let's do that as well. And nothing else to change in these general settings. So basically how PaintCan works, it has the underlying image, our photograph here. Then it has some presets on the left side, which are actually the brushes with different values. From light. Right now our image is in tracing mode, meaning that you see in very light opacity the original underlying image. If we press on hide, we only can see the white canvas. But for the beginning, this tracing mode is quite good, so we know where we paint. Then heavy strokes, coarse outlines. If we press on clear, we are clearing our strokes. And details mode, putting some details here. Texture. So these are the pre-installed presets. But in my technique, I'm not using the preset. I'm using my own presets in the manual mode. And that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to change the opacity and make it 100%. And I'm going to change the size of the brush, making it 15. And then I will choose this brush, which is on the top left. This brush makes kind of bold white strokes like that. Very painterly brush strokes. And I'm using it for the background, for actually smudging the photograph and making kind of abstract, simplified underpainting. The size of the brush depends on this setting, on the size, but also if you zoom in, then the brush size automatically becomes smaller. If you zoom out, then the brush becomes larger. So for my initial brushing with this brush, I'm gonna make my photograph of about the screen size.
And let's paint the underpainting once more. I'm just brushing, following the lines of the image. Don't worry about brushing out the details because we're going to bring them later with another brush. Right now we're doing just a simplified, a very abstract painting of the actually underpainting. If we press on hide, we can see the white areas which are left and which we still need to brush on. Okay, I think that will do for my underpainting. Next, I'm gonna use this brush, the second one on the right column, and I'm gonna change the size of the brush to 5. And with the same size of the canvas, I'm gonna paint out some of the details. I press on pick to see the original image, so I know where I would paint the details. Let me paint the details of the piano player. Starting with his head. I'm not going to paint out every single detail, just some important shapes like the head, the arm, and the piano. Where is the piano? Just touching upon some of the areas to reveal some shapes. So we understand that this is a piano, this is a man, etc. These are the piano legs. These are the man's legs. Then we'll paint out some figures. Just to have a diversity, some details on the picture. We don't need to paint out each and every detail, just a few ones. Okay, what else? I think that's enough for the details, and the final brush which I'm gonna use and which would put some interesting like painting shapes is this brush, the third brush on the left. For this brush I'm gonna use the size of between 2 and 3, and then I'm going to paint some lines, brush lines of some areas, just to pretend that we're really making a painting here. You see, this brush is making a very nice kind of lines, brush stroke lines, mimicking some paint strokes, right? And that's what makes the viewer to believe that it's actually it's a painting. So I'm usually doing this brush every time. And the number of brush strokes and where to put brush strokes, it all depends on your creativity. Something like that. Just painting this thing which the piano man is sitting on. Painting some lines on the piano. To get the impression that it's a painting. Very nice. Undo. Painting out this man, just a figure, his head. And I'm breaking the lines which I did with the smaller brush, with the details brush. I'm just breaking these lines which look a bit photographic, and these brushing lines just make to look it like a painting. If I want to brush out some smaller details, I just zoom in, and then the brush becomes much smaller. And if I had some eyes here, I would put some, brush strokes of the eyes here. So, and let's see, for the piano, like we can do it like that. We're just putting some of our imagination here. Just making some loose lines. If I zoom out, my brush becomes larger, and I can kind of paint some, and you make it a little bit larger as well here, like 7, and make a kind of leaves and trees here with this brush. With the short brush strokes like that, we can make some sort of leaves here. Just very loose, abstract, making our imagination work here, right? Just adding some lines. So that looks like a painting. Putting a bit of mess here, which is good. We have a very painterly background, but we still can see that we have a piano man here sitting, some figures. We still have a feeling that this is the park. Of course, if we compare it with the original image is a photograph, and we need to make a painting out of that, something like this. So when I'm happy, I save this image, and then I tweak it a little bit in Colorama. You can do it in any other application, but Colorama for me is the best one, and I go to photo and upload this painting. You see it's in a very large resolution here, and the brush strokes are really nice. They are in HD quality, and we just need to pop them up a little bit. And the first thing, I go to tone and enhance the image a little bit with one of the presets in enhance or any other Colorama color preset. So let's say that, for example, that I like this one, and press apply. Maybe I'll go to adjust, and in tone lab I will saturate this image a little bit. Oh, this one is too dark. Yeah, like something like this, and press apply. And the last thing, I'm gonna go to effects and use the raise effect. Instead of sharpen, I'm gonna use this raise effect. So we have the brush strokes really popping up now, and the texture of the brush strokes is getting more visible. I'm going to decrease the size, decrease it to 0.15, and that will do. I press apply and save the image. Now let's try some other image, and this time I think I'm going to use the flower, the still life and flower. This image of sunflower, which I got from Pixabay as well. I'm going to menu, presets, and make the opacity 100 and the size of the brush 15. And I'm using this brush on the top left corner. And for the first underpainting, I'm going to do some really loose and wide strokes for the background, for the sky. Something like this. You see how nice the brush strokes are mixing up the pixels. They are mixing up the original color with some whites, and that looks really, really nice to me. Just very loose and very abstract. And that's the beauty of this application, to make these kind of strokes and in HD quality actually. So you can print it out and put it on canvas and on the wall. Now I need to define some of the details. I'm using this brush, and I decrease the size to something like 5 or 6, and I'm just painting out some of the details here to see where the shapes of the flower. Then I'm going to use this brush, make the size to 3 or 4, and make some painterly lines now. On the flower. So I almost feel like I'm an artist, a real artist, and this is a real canvas, and these are the real paints. I'm actually not a painter, not an artist. I'm really an amateur, but I love this, what I'm doing. Thankful to this application and other painting applications, and for people who develop this. Thanks to them. Really appreciate their job. What they are doing for people to enjoy art, seeing at home. And I'm just looking for some better ways of using these applications and sharing this with you. I hope you are enjoying that. Okay. I'm almost done here. Placing some final touches on the image. Some final brushing. I think I'll add some of these lines here. Adding some loose strokes to the painting. So a lot of creativity for you in this technique, I think. All right. I'm liking it. Hope you too. Yeah. I think I'm done with this painting. And now just let's save it. Go to Colorama. Get this image now on Colorama. And adjust some tonality. I like this one, number 11. Usually it's good. It's just adding up some of the saturation. Apply. Go to effects and add raise. Decrease size to 15 now. Great. Press apply and save the image. And the last example I'm gonna do is with the portrait. Portrait usually is really difficult to do in the applications like that, but I think I can do that, and I'll show you. Opening PaintCan and start. Now I go to photos, then I go to this portrait of a woman, which I got from Pixabay as well, and let's try it now. Manual, opacity to 100, decrease the size to 15, this kind of size, this brush, and let's paint out the background now, which is around the head of this woman with the white loose brush strokes. On this side as well. Just imagine that you have a real brush in your hands. I'm increasing this size of the canvas. The size of the brush was decreasing, so I'm gonna work on the hair and on the face with this brush, with this size actually. Making it more careful now. The face deserves a more careful touch, of course. Still loose, but it's not a problem. We'll get the details out with the other brush. That's good. Height. Okay, we can see now the white areas we have left. No problem. Then I'm taking this brush, the details brush, decreasing the size to 6, and I'm painting out the eyes and the mouth with this brush and some other areas in the face. So we have some, with the portrait we're gonna have some details, of course, so that this person is recognizable. Unless you want to really have some impressionistic kind of portrait painting of a person with some other vision, with some other, with no details. Right, something like this. Now I'm gonna use this brush and with the line brush and decrease the size to 4 and paint over the hairs first. So we have some beautiful line brushes. Just take your imagination and paint with this brush as if you would paint in real life. It doesn't need to be 100% similar to the photograph. Definitely not. This is your impression, your interpretation of what you see and what you do. If you want to bring back some of the details, again, we are going to use this brush, and if you wanted to have a more realistic, we can use that. And it's still painting. You see that we still have these painterly lines here. So it all depends on your taste, whether we want to make it like realistic one or impressionistic one. I personally like the impressionistic way, so I'm gonna use back this brush and put on some white loose strokes, at least here on your head, on your hair, and leave the central part, the face itself, a kind of photographic way, right? Good. So you've got the idea, I think. So now I'm gonna save this image and tweak it in Colorama again. In tone, enhance, choosing any preset which I like. Oh, let me choose this one. Apply and go to Effects and use Raise to pop up the brush strokes. 15, like this. Apply and save the image. Really nice. So that is it. This is my way of painting with PaintCan from Adobe.
Thank you for watching this video. Hope that you liked my tips and tricks on using PaintCan application. I'm sure you will be creating beautiful art from your images with this technique. If you like this video, don't forget to put your likes and subscribe to my channel. You can also visit my Photo to Paint website, where I posted over 30 tutorials and different brushes, textures, and apps. I wish you happy painting and see you in my next video.